I never thought I'd say this, but my ex-boyfriend, yeah, the one who broke my heart, is now having a baby with my mom. One day, I walked into the kitchen to grab some cereal, and there they were laughing. Then I saw it. Her hand was resting on his. I froze. My world didn't just break, it exploded. You think your love life is messy? Wait until you hear what happened to mine. It all started in my junior year of high school. I was dating Jake, the guy every girl had a crush on, and I thought I was winning at life. Jake was charming, popular, and knew exactly what to say to make me feel special. He'd walk me to class, leave cute notes in my locker, and text me goodnight. My mom, Lana, was always supportive of Jake and me. She used to say, "He's a good kid. You're lucky." I thought she was just being nice. Jake and I dated for over a year. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but I really thought we'd be together forever. Until everything changed. One night, Jake and I had a huge fight. He accused me of being too controlling, and I said he was immature. We broke up just like that. I cried for days. My mom brought me ice cream, let me skip chores, and said all the right things. He wasn't the one, she said softly. School became a nightmare. Jake had already moved on, at least that's what it looked like on his Instagram. Meanwhile, I was struggling to breathe without him. Then something strange started happening. My mom kept getting texts late at night. She'd smile at her phone and say it was just a work thing. She suddenly started dressing up more, wearing makeup at home, buying new clothes. I figured she was just trying to feel better after seeing me so down. A few weeks later, Jake texted me out of nowhere. "No hard feelings?" he asked. I stared at the screen for a while, not knowing what to say. I didn't reply to Jake's message. I felt like he didn't deserve my forgiveness. But deep down, part of me still wanted closure or maybe attention. That night at dinner, Mom seemed unusually cheerful. She made Jake's favorite pasta dish. I asked why, and she shrugged. Just felt like trying something new. I caught her smiling at her phone again. When I asked who she was texting, she turned it over and said, "Just a friend from yoga class." Weeks passed, and I noticed Jake was acting differently too. He'd smile when he saw me in the hallway, but not in a get-back-together way. One weekend, I saw Jake's car parked a few streets away from my house. I thought maybe he was visiting a friend, but something about it felt off. Curiosity got the better of me. I walked up to the car and peeked inside. It was empty. Then I saw it. A jacket. My mom's. My stomach dropped. There was no reason for my mom to be anywhere near Jake. I rushed home, but she wasn't there. "Running errands," she texted. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept racing. Was it a coincidence? Or was something actually going on between Jake and my mom? The next day, I decided to do a little digging. I checked her phone while she was showering. She had his name saved under a fake contact. They had been texting for weeks. Flirty emojis, inside jokes, even pictures. I slammed the phone down, my hands trembling. This couldn't be real. It couldn't. I confronted her after dinner. I didn't mention the texts. I just asked, "Have you been seeing anyone?" She blinked, then gave a weird half smile. Maybe. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just nodded and went to my room. My heart felt like it was being crushed by a truck. Betrayal burned inside me. The next morning, Jake showed up at our door. My mom answered while I stood frozen behind the wall. She smiled, hugged him, and let him in. I couldn't take it anymore. I burst into the living room. "What the heck is going on?" I yelled. Jake looked at me, startled. Mom looked guilty. "Cassie, calm down," my mom said, stepping toward me. "I was going to tell you." My voice cracked as I shouted, "You're dating my ex?" Jake avoided my eyes. "It just happened," he muttered. "We connected after we broke up." My jaw dropped. "She's my mother, Jake. Do you hear yourself?" I ran out of the house, tears streaming down my face. I didn't care where I was going. I just needed to escape that nightmare of a home. My best friend Maya picked me up. When I told her everything, her eyes nearly popped out of her head. "This is messed up beyond belief," she said. Maya offered to let me stay the night. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my mom and Jake laughing together like I never mattered. The next day, I skipped school. I didn't want to see Jake. I didn't want to see her. I stayed in Maya's guest room, spiraling with rage and heartbreak. By the second day, my phone was blowing up. Dozens of missed calls and texts from mom, one from Jake. I didn't reply to any of them. Maya's mom noticed I wasn't okay. She tried to talk to me, but what could I say? Yeah, my mom's dating my ex-boyfriend. It was too humiliating. When I finally checked my messages, one from mom stood out. We need to talk. I didn't want to hurt you. I almost threw my phone. I decided to go back home not for them, but for my own peace. I needed answers. I deserved to look my mom in the eye and ask why. The moment I stepped inside, she ran to hug me. I stood stiff. Don't, I whispered. Just tell me how long this has been going on. She sat me down and confessed. It started 2 months after you broke up. We ran into each other at the grocery store. We talked. It just happened. I was silent for a while. Then I asked the worst question possible. Do you love him? She looked away. That was all the answer I needed. Jake tried to call me again. I finally answered, more out of fury than anything. Are you proud of this? Sleeping with your ex's mother? He sighed. Cassie, it's not like that. We didn't plan this. I didn't mean to hurt you. I wanted to scream. That excuse made it worse. Rumors started spreading at school. People whispered when I walked by. I didn't even tell anyone, but somehow people knew. And Jake? He acted like nothing happened. One day, in the middle of math class, I broke down crying. I couldn't hold it in anymore. The teacher sent me to the nurse's office. I sat in the bathroom stall and texted my dad, who lived in another state. Can I stay with you for a while? I pressed send, hands shaking. He responded within minutes. Always? I'll book you a flight tonight. Tears filled my eyes. Finally, someone who hadn't betrayed me. Someone who still felt safe. I packed my bags quietly. Mom tried to stop me. Please, don't run from this. I stared at her coldly. I'm not running. I'm healing. Jake showed up as I was leaving. Cass, wait, please. I didn't even look at him. She's all yours now, I said. Congrats on being disgusting. The flight to Dad's felt like escaping a prison. I stared out the window, wondering if I'd ever be the same again. Part of me felt dead inside. Dad welcomed me with open arms. No questions, no judgment, just comfort. It was the first time I felt peace in months. I slept for 12 hours straight. Weeks passed, and I slowly got better. Therapy helped. So did journaling. I didn't miss Jake. I missed the me I was before everything shattered. Then came the text. From Mom. I need to tell you something important. Please pick up. I ignored it. She followed up with one sentence. I'm pregnant. I stared at the message, frozen. Pregnant. Pregnant by Jake. My ex. My mom. I dropped the phone. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. This was officially a nightmare. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring into space. My mom was pregnant with my ex's child. How was this even real? This felt like fiction. I didn't respond for hours. My dad noticed something was off. You okay, sweetheart? He asked gently. I nodded, lying straight to his face. How could I explain this? Later that night, I texted Maya. My mom's pregnant. With Jake's baby. She called immediately, practically yelling, WHAT. She's having your ex-boyfriend's child. This is sick. I wanted to pretend it wasn't happening. But the next day, my mom sent a photo of her positive pregnancy test. I wanted you to know before it shows. That image haunted me. I thought of Jake, how he once told me he never wanted kids. I guess that changed when he switched to an older version of me. Maya and I spent hours trying to make sense of it. She should have known better, Maya said. She's your mom. This isn't just betrayal. It's full-blown insanity. My dad saw the photo later that day. I'd accidentally left my phone on the counter. He looked at me in shock. Wait, is this her pregnancy test? I broke down sobbing. He hugged me tightly, and for the first time, I didn't hold it in. I cried like I hadn't in years. ugly, painful crying. "I'll take care of you," Dad whispered. "You don't need to talk to her right now. Focus on healing. You're not responsible for her choices." A week later, Jake texted me. "I know this is crazy, but I hope one day you'll forgive me. We didn't mean to fall in love." I blocked him. I couldn't help but stalk them online. My mom's page was suddenly private, and Jake had deleted all his posts. But a new one popped up, a baby emoji. I stared at the post, my stomach churning. The comments were filled with "Congrats," and "So happy for you both." Nobody knew the full story. Nobody knew the truth. I wanted to scream the truth in the comments. "He's my ex. She's my mom." But I didn't. I refused to be the villain in their twisted fairy tale. School reached out and asked if I was returning. I told them I needed more time. I wasn't ready to walk the halls where everyone whispered behind my back. Meanwhile, my mom kept sending updates, ultrasound pics, baby name ideas, as if we were best friends again. I never replied. Silence was my only power left. Then she sent a voice note. "I know I hurt you, but I don't regret falling in love. This baby is a blessing, Cassie. I hope you'll see that." That was the last straw. I wrote her a long message. "You chose him. You didn't just hurt me, you destroyed what little trust we had. Don't contact me again." I didn't send it. I just saved it in drafts. But writing it made me feel stronger, like I was finally taking back my own story. One afternoon, my dad surprised me with a canvas and paint set. I thought it might help. I hadn't painted in years, but something inside me lit up again. I started painting everyday messy, raw, emotional art. It was the only thing that made sense. And every time I finished a piece, I felt like I was healing. As the days passed, painting became my therapy. I painted broken hearts, shattered glass, even a baby crying inside a storm. Each one held a piece of my story. My art teacher back home messaged me after seeing my work online. "This is powerful stuff, Cassie. Ever thought of entering a teen showcase?" I hadn't until then. With Dad's encouragement, I submitted 3 pieces anonymously. It felt like taking control of something, anything, in a world where everything else had crumbled. Then, one night while scrolling, I saw a tagged photo that made my heart stop. It was Jake and my mom, in matching t-shirts. That said "Mommy and Daddy." My chest tightened. I almost dropped my phone. The caption read, "Halfway there #20 weeks #babyj." They were parading their relationship like it was normal, like I didn't exist. The comments made it worse. "Such a beautiful couple. You both are glowing." No one knew the ugly truth. I had to get out of the comment section fast. That night, I had a nightmare. I was trapped in a nursery while they rocked the baby, laughing, while I screamed, invisible. I woke up drenched in sweat. Dad noticed something was wrong again. "Do you want to talk to someone professionally?" he asked gently. I hesitated, then nodded. Maybe I couldn't heal alone. Therapy was awkward at first, but eventually, I opened up. I told the therapist everything about Jake, my mom, the betrayal, the baby, even the dream. She didn't flinch once. She asked, "What would healing look like to you?" I thought for a long time before saying, "Feeling like myself again. Like someone who deserves love that doesn't break me." Weeks later, I got an email. My paintings had been selected for the teen showcase. I screamed. For the first time in forever, the tears I cried were happy ones. Maya FaceTimed me to celebrate. "Girl, you're glowing. Healing looks good on you." I smiled. Still got a long way to go, but part of me believed her. Just when things felt steady, an email arrived from Mom's account. A scanned letter. "This is from your grandmother before she passed. I thought you deserved to read it." I almost deleted it, but curiosity won. The letter was handwritten, yellowed with age. It read, "Lana, never let your own pain make you ruin someone else's joy." As I read the letter, I realized something chilling. My mom had done something similar before. Grandma had warned her not to repeat old mistakes. My mom's life had been full of secrets and pain. It didn't excuse what she did, but it gave me context. She hadn't betrayed me because I was broken, she was. Still, I didn't forgive her. Not yet. but I started to understand, and with understanding came a little more peace, like the tiniest crack of sunlight through a storm. The showcase night finally came. My paintings hung on the wall. People stood around them, talking. One girl cried quietly while staring at the stormy baby painting. Later, she came up to me. "Did you make that?" she asked. I nodded. It felt like someone finally painted my story. "Thank you," and just like that, I knew my pain had purpose. That night, I journaled until not about my mom or Jake, but about me. My strength, my growth. For the first time, the story felt like mine again. Things were finally feeling normal, or at least my new version of normal. I started painting commissions and even made a few real friends at my new school. Then, completely out of nowhere, I got a call from Maya. "Cassie, you're not gonna believe this," she said. "Your mom's in the hospital. Emergency. Pregnancy complications." My first instinct was to ignore it. Why should I care? But something deep inside me, something I didn't want to admit, still cared. Even after everything, I told Dad. He looked conflicted. "You don't have to go," he said, "but if you want to, I'll take you." I didn't answer right away. I spent the whole night staring at the ceiling. Memories of Mom helping me with homework, braiding my hair, crying when I got my first heartbreak, they all came rushing back. The next morning, I said, "Let's go." We drove 5 hours in silence. The hospital was cold and sterile, but my heart was pounding like it was on fire. Maya met me at the entrance. "She's stable," she whispered, "but they said she might lose the baby." I didn't know what I was supposed to feel. When I walked into the room, I froze. Jake was there, holding her hand. She looked pale and exhausted, and then she saw me and started crying immediately. "I didn't think you'd come," she said, voice shaky. I stayed near the door, not ready to get close. "I didn't come for him. I came for you." Jake awkwardly got up. "I'll give you to space." For once, he made the right choice. When he left, it was just me and her, face to face. She tried to sit up but winced in pain. "It's a boy," she said. "We were going to name him River." I stayed silent, my throat too tight to speak. "I've made a lot of mistakes, Cassie, but losing you hurt more than anything," she whispered. I kept thinking, what if she never comes back? I stared at her for a long time. "I don't hate you," I finally said, "but I don't know if I can ever love you the same way again." Her eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. "That's fair. I deserve that." For once, she wasn't defending herself. She wasn't justifying the betrayal. She was just human. Before I left the room, I whispered, "I hope he's healthy. I hope he doesn't grow up in lies." Her expression crumbled. She understood exactly what I meant. Maya hugged me outside the room. "You were amazing in there," she said. "Seriously? You handled that like a queen." I didn't feel like a queen, I just felt tired. Jake caught me before I reached the elevator. "Cassie, wait please." I held up my hand. "Don't say anything. Just be a better man for the baby. He'll need one." We left the hospital, and I exhaled deeply for the first time all day. Dad looked over and asked, "How do you feel?" I paused, like I'm finally letting go. Back home, everything felt different. Lighter. I didn't check my mom's socials anymore. I didn't wonder how Jake was doing. That part of my life was over. I stood in front of a blank canvas and picked up my brush. This time, I didn't paint pain. I painted growth, and it felt like finally coming home. The weeks that followed felt strangely calm. For once, there was no chaos, no drama. I focused on school, painting, and slowly, quietly becoming someone new. Then one day, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, just my name in my mom's handwriting. My stomach twisted before I even opened it. Inside was a photo of the nursery, light blue walls, a small crib, and a stuffed elephant I'd loved as a kid. She'd placed it on a shelf. The note attached said, "I wanted him to know he had a big sister. Even if you never meet him, I want him to grow up knowing your name." It was the first time I cried in weeks. Not because I was sad, but because a small part of me felt remembered, like I hadn't been completely erased. I didn't write back, but I hung the photo on my corkboard, right next to one of my paintings. Somehow, they belong together, two parts of the same truth. One night during dinner, Dad said, "I've been thinking, would you want to apply to that art school in the city? The one you talked about before everything happened?" My eyes lit up. I hadn't even dared to dream that big again. "You think I could get in?" I asked. "I know you could," he said. I worked nonstop on my portfolio. Every painting felt like a piece of me finally being reclaimed. Pain, strength, survival, it was all there on canvas. Then came the call. I had made it through the first round. An interview was scheduled. I screamed so loud, the neighbor's dog started barking. While preparing for the interview, I got another text from Maya. "Your mom's in labor. It's happening right now." I froze. I had no idea how to feel. Part of me wanted to go. Another part screamed why. I wasn't ready to be in that room. Not after everything. Not yet. I messaged Maya back. "Let me know when it's over. And if the baby's okay." That was all I could give. That was enough for now. 3 hours later, I got a photo. A tiny baby, wrapped in blue, sleeping peacefully. Maya wrote, "He's healthy. 7 pounds. Looks just like Jake. But his eyes? Yours." I stared at the photo for a long time. He was innocent, untouched by the drama, a blank slate, a new beginning for all of us, maybe. Later that night, Mom sent a message. "His name is River Cassiel. We gave him your name, Cassie, for strength. I hope one day he'll know where it came from." I didn't reply, but I smiled just a little. Maybe it wasn't forgiveness, but it was a start. Healing doesn't always come with closure. Sometimes it just comes with peace. The next morning, I nailed the art school interview. I told them about my story. Not the drama, but the growth, the recovery, the way art had saved my life. A week later, I got the letter. I'd been accepted. I fell to my knees crying. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was building a future. As I packed for the move, I placed the baby photo gently into a folder, not to forget but to remember what I'd survived and who I'd become because of it. Moving to the city felt like hitting reset. The skyline, the noise, the art school, all of it gave me a feeling I hadn't had in years. Freedom. The dorms were small, but I didn't care. I had my own space, my own routine. No more whispered gossip. No more Jake. No more Mom, just me. One day in class, we had to share a personal project. I showed a piece called Inheritance, a woman holding a child while her own reflection cracked behind her. My professor teared up. "You just told an entire story without a single word," she said. For the first time, I believed I was more than my trauma. Maya came to visit during fall break. We got boba, laughed for hours, and took goofy photos. "This is the Cassie I missed," she said. I missed her too. Then came the unexpected message. "River's first birthday is coming up," Mom wrote. "If you'd like to meet him, you can. No pressure, just love." I stared at the message for days. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to delete it. Another part just kept staring at that baby's face. I brought it up in therapy. "I don't owe her anything," I said. The therapist replied, "That's true. But sometimes healing means facing the parts of us we avoid." Eventually, I said yes. I didn't tell Maya, or my dad, or even my roommates. I just bought a bus ticket, held my breath, and went. When I arrived, the door opened slowly. Mom looked older, softer. No makeup, no act. She looked like someone who had been humbled by real life. She didn't hug me. She didn't reach for me. She just stepped aside and said, "He's in the nursery. You can go in alone." I walked in, heart pounding. River sat on the floor surrounded by blocks. When he looked up at me with those big, familiar eyes, I froze. He smiled, just like Jake used to, but softer, innocent. I knelt down, and he crawled toward me without hesitation, like he knew me somehow. I held him, his tiny hand wrapped around my finger. My walls shattered. This child wasn't my enemy. He was just a piece of a story I didn't write. Mom watched quietly from the doorway. "He knows your face from the pictures," she said. "He's always smiling at the ones with you." I looked at her finally. "I don't forgive you yet," I said, "but I don't hate you either. I think I'm just ready to be free. She nodded, her eyes filling. I'm not asking you to forget. Just, thank you for coming. Her voice cracked. For once, she didn't try to fix it. I kissed River's forehead and whispered, "You're not your parents' mistakes." Then I stood up, grabbed my bag, and walked out lighter than I had in years. On the bus ride home, I played soft music and stared out the window. I wasn't running anymore. I had faced the storm and I survived it. Back in my dorm, I started a new painting. This one was bright sunrise colors, soft lines, open skies. No broken glass, just hope. For once, I knew I'd be okay. A few weeks after I returned, I received a package. No note, no sender, just a small box with River's handprint in clay and a bracelet with his initials. I held the clay gently, tracing the tiny fingers. This wasn't an apology. It wasn't manipulation. It was a bridge, a quiet offering of peace from my little brother. In class, we started a final year portfolio project. Pick one word to center your collection on, the professor said. I chose rebirth without even hesitating. Each painting became a chapter, not of destruction but of rebuilding. A girl climbing from rubble, a shattered mirror forming wings, a tree blooming in cracked pavement. One day after class, a boy named Liam stopped me. "Hey, your piece, the one with the girl and the baby, erect me. My sister's raising my nephew alone." We talked for hours. Liam was quiet, thoughtful, and nothing like Jake. He never asked about my past, but when I told him, he listened, really listened. It was weird letting someone in again. I kept expecting betrayal, but he never pushed, never pried, just showed up, again and again, and I slowly let him. By winter break, we were inseparable. We weren't dating, but there was something there, something calm, something real, and for once, I wasn't scared of it. On Christmas Eve, I visited Dad. He smiled at how much lighter I seemed. "You're glowing, Cass," he said. "It's good to see you alive again." We watched old home videos, Mom laughing, me as a toddler, Jake at one of my birthdays. It stung, but I didn't cry. I just felt detached, and that felt powerful. Later that night, Mom texted me a simple message. "River took his first steps today. He tried to walk toward your photo." I stared at the screen in silence. I didn't reply, but I didn't delete it either. I saved the message. One day, when River's old enough, I want to tell him everything truthfully, but gently. In the spring semester, my rebirth collection got selected for a traveling student showcase. I couldn't believe that my work would be seen by people all over the country. Liam surprised me with tickets to the opening night in Chicago. "Your story deserves to be heard," he said. I blushed harder than I ever had in my life. At the event, strangers walked up to me, thanking me. One woman whispered, "Your paintings, they healed something in me I didn't know was broken." Later that night, Liam and I stood by the lake. "You know," he said, "I think you're the strongest person I've ever met." I looked up. I think I finally believed that too. I got a message from Mom the next day. River said, "Cass, today I showed him your art." He pointed at the girl with wings and smiled. My eyes filled with tears. I walked into the studio and began a new painting, me, holding River, surrounded by light. It wasn't fantasy. It was a future I could choose. That night, I posted the piece with a caption, "Not all families are perfect, but real love can grow from broken places." Thousands of people shared it. For the first time, I wasn't just telling my story. I was telling ours. And it wasn't about betrayal anymore. It was about survival, about truth, about starting again. Spring turned to summer, and my life felt fuller than it ever had. I wasn't the girl with the mom and the ex, I was Cassie the artist. One day, Liam and I sat by the river near campus. He handed me a wrapped notebook. "You've told everyone else's story in paint. Maybe now it's time to write your own." Inside the notebook was a single sentence he'd written on the first page. "What if this time, everything works out?" I didn't know how to respond, but I smiled. I started journaling again. But this time, it wasn't about pain or betrayal. It was about growth, dreams, and what I wanted from the rest of my life. One journal entry began, "Dear River," and something shifted inside me. Maybe one day, I'd give it to him. Let him see the truth through my words, not others' lies. Liam and I grew closer. No pressure, no label. But one night, under a string of dorm lights, he kissed me softly and whispered, "You don't have to be afraid." I wasn't. Not anymore. I kissed him back, not because I needed to be saved, but because I finally felt safe enough to love someone new. That night, I painted two figures on a bridge, one broken, one whole, meeting in the middle. It was called The First Step. It was my new beginning. Then came a letter in the mail, handwritten again. It was from my mom. "We're moving," it said. "Jake and I broke up." It wasn't what I thought it would be. My hands trembled as I read it. I was looking for comfort in the wrong place. I was wrong. But River, he was the only right thing in all of it. She ended it with, "If you ever want to be his sister, not his mother, not his judge, but just his sister, we'd love to see you." I didn't know what to feel. Relief? Confusion? Closure? But I did know this. Mom wasn't hiding behind Jake anymore. She was finally facing herself. That mattered. I sent her a postcard. Just one sentence. "Maybe one day," and that was enough. I didn't need to slam the door. I just didn't need to open it fully yet. Summer showcase came, and my collection sold out. Every painting. I stood there watching people carry pieces of my soul away, but it felt like freedom, not loss. A woman approached me. "Have you considered writing your story as a book? People need to hear this, not just see it. Feel it," and suddenly, I saw the future. I began drafting my memoir. Not to expose anyone, not for revenge, but for the girl who once thought she'd never survive her own family. She deserved a voice. The title? Painted from Pieces, because that's what I was. Not perfect, not untouched, but beautiful because of the cracks, not in spite of them. As my senior year approached, Liam asked, "What comes next?" I looked at the city skyline and whispered, "Everything. Everything I never thought I could have." And that fall, I stood at a podium, reading an excerpt from my book to an auditorium filled with young women who'd also been betrayed, broken, and silenced. "I'm not the girl whose mom dated her ex," I read aloud. "I'm the girl who survived it, grew from it, and created something beautiful from it. And you can too." After the reading, a teenage girl came up to me, eyes red from crying. "I thought I was the only one with a mom who ruined everything," she whispered. I hugged her tight and said, "You're not alone, and you're not ruined either." That moment reminded me why I shared my story, to help others take their power back. A week later, I received a package, no name on the return label. Inside was a drawing, a child's sketch, two stick figures, one labeled me, the other, Cassie. I turned the paper over. A note in my mom's handwriting read, "He asked to draw his sister today. I thought you should see it." I cried for a full hour. I pinned the drawing above my desk, not as a symbol of the past, but as proof that even the messiest stories can grow something innocent and beautiful. Later that night, I journaled again. Maybe forgiveness isn't saying it's okay. Maybe it's saying, "You hurt me, and I'm still healing, but I choose to move forward anyway." River's second birthday came. I mailed him a gift, finger paints, and a card that said, "Let the mess make something beautiful." It was signed, "Your big sister, Cassie." Liam and I sat on the balcony that evening. "Do you regret going through all of it?" he asked softly. I took a deep breath and said, "No, not anymore." Because if I hadn't, I continued, I wouldn't be here, wouldn't know who I am, wouldn't have you, wouldn't have me. I was built from the rubble. And now I rise. As the city lights flickered below us, I whispered the final words of my story to the stars. This is not the end. This is where I begin.